You are watching this video because you have an appliance where the finish on your metal has bubbled up. I found out that you can sand this and make it look nice. You can sand that finish right off. And it makes a little fine dust and it turns out to look great. I'm not finished yet, but what I'm showing you is that I used a 120 sandpaper and took the here's the side that I haven't finished yet, and this stuff bubbled up because it couldn't take the heat. Well, that makes me wonder why would you make an oven that has a finish that can't take the heat? Well, our Whirlpool couldn't take the heat. It's not like we did anything unusual, but so I took the 120, basically sand carefully, and we're going to stop here to make it so that we don't have to do everything. We just want to make like an angle here and then go to a brushed aluminum look. So with the mask on, you're going to want to sand carefully so that you don't hit the glass and scratch it, and that you don't get the black background either. And work that down with that 120 grit. It seems to be plenty enough. I started with something more coarse, and you definitely don't want to do that. So I stopped right away and I went to the 120 grit. And it takes a little elbow grease, but it's not terrible. It's really not taking very long. As you can see, it takes that finish right off. And since it was bubbled up, we were thinking about replacing the appliance. Problem is, the appliance works just fine. So why donate it and buy a new one when this appliance works definitely very well for us? Look at that finish come right off. A little elbow grease, a little persistence. Now you can see by these lines, after you get the finish off, you're going to have to go over it with now 220. So I went from 120 to 220. And then I'm going to go to 320. And then I'm going to go to a 600 and make it look really nice. That's what the 600 looks like initially. I'll give you a little preview. It really shines it up. Oh, that is nice. I'm going to be really happy with that. I'll show you the final product here after I do some hard work. One additional suggestion is the fact that you can remove these knobs. It makes it easier to clean up behind here. Make sure you don't get water inside there. That's where the electrical work happens. But you can clean in behind those, and then you can take these, run them through your dishwasher, or maybe not. Maybe it might remove the paint, or just scrub it up in your sink. Once they're cleaned up, you can put them back, and plus they're out of your way for sanding. Again, don't touch the glass with your sanding, and be careful how far you go with your sanding. This is coming together very well. There you go. That's what it looks like if you use sandpaper to get the finish off of your stove because it bubbles up. You can see I stopped at this angle because it was easy. It was really easy to stop at that location. And I used 120 grit and 220 grit, and then 320 grit, 600, and then I ended with steel wool. That really shines it up nice. You get in there with that steel wool. You wouldn't do this to like your brushed aluminum fridge. You would ruin it. Actually, the finish of this stove now is smoother aluminum than the look that you'd have on something like brushed aluminum like this. So again, you would not use this anywhere else. Be very careful. And you can finish it. You can make it, use as much elbow grease as you feel you need to get it to look perfect. But I left the right side unfinished so you can see the difference. You can see where the finish is, somewhat where I sanded it off. This is what the 120 grit looks like. I hit some of this with the 220 grit. As I graduate over to here, 320 grit, and then as you can see, this is the finished product, it shined it up really nice and gave our oven some more life. Please let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions or any other ideas that you would contribute to this conversation. We can all learn from each other. Thanks for watching Frosty Life.